Yes, guys, how you doing? Welcome back. Welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show. Look who I found. Look who I found. I got him out of, listen, I don't know if we're going to call him a lumberjack, or should we call ourselves lumberjacks this weekend? We're going up to Nottingham, axes in hand, and chopping down. I hear myself in the background. Terrible. And then let's just talk about this, mate. Let's talk about this. What we're going to do up in Nottingham Forest. We're going to take down some trees. We're going to put some more pressure on Wolfie, on his living, because if Forest get relegated, then what is he going to do? The views are going to crash. Wolfie, how are you, my man? Good to see you, buddy. Welcome to the channel, by the way. Debut appearance.
This is my debut. Big up, man. About time, Sean. About time.
Yeah. Sorry, mate. Sorry.
Yeah, I see you coming with that chest off the bat. I like it. I don't even have to dig deep for the clips now after we win. So it's nice and easy. Yeah. I'm good, bro. I'm good, man. Much love to you. Much love to your chat. I'm sure I'm going to piss half of them off. Probably all of them off. Oh, there is someone already. Yeah, I hate that Wolfie Forest YouTuber. Big up to you, AJ.
Big up to the time to cook this fraud, Wolfie, says Ghosted. Big up to you guys. You know it's all fun and games. Well, that's what I thought it was until last night. Obviously, last night on Spurs 5, I thought I was doing fun and games, but apparently I went, I don't know what happened there.
What did I miss?
Okay, what's that?
What did I miss? I saw about half an hour of it.
The final 10 minutes. I was I had a video ready to go, and it went down like a pint of warm sick with the recipient of the cooking. It didn't go down too well. He was calling me disingenuous to do it. I was like, listen, mate, it's just a bit of banter. That's what you're supposed to do on this channel. You know,
which one did you piss off?
Stel.
I like Stel. You know what?
I like Stel. I never used to like Stel, but I get on really well with him these days. I like it.
I actually think Stel has the most sensible take on Spurs out of all of you lot. And there's a lot of you, by the way. There's a freaking lot of you Spurs freaking content creators, man. But yeah. I like Stel's take. I think he's very balanced. Very balanced.
Yeah, I do too. But someone reached out to me and said, listen, you know, he's saying now, like, I don't want to hear any more that the team isn't good enough. Have you seen this clip from just a few weeks ago? And I looked at it. And the start of the clip had him coming for me because I'm a Levy supporter and he wasn't one. And he goes, I'm not having people that support Levy calling me miserable git and all this stuff. I bet he better come on Monday with the Heat. And so I didn't come on Monday. I came on Thursday with the Heat because in that clip, he basically said, after a loss, he said, guys, this team isn't good enough. And so I sort of chopped it up to be like him saying, I don't want to hear it's not good enough. And then him saying it's not good enough. And then I did the cooking. Anyway, I thought we were all going to be laughing when the video finished. I thought everyone would be laughing because that was the sort of nature of the show, and that's how it's been on that channel. But no, he didn't like it. He said I was being.
I'm gonna have to see the last 10 minutes then. But can I just say, right? How good are your AI videos, man? Like, honestly, thank you for that flip flop, man. That went down like a treat when I was doing my panel show. It was very good, man. Very good.
I've got loads more. I've got loads more in the idea tank, you know, in the bank up here. So, and it doesn't take long to make them. Get onto suno.ai, and it's cheap as chips, and then just bang in some lyrics.
Wait for them to sponsor you first, bro, before you start advertising them.
Oh yeah.
That business mind, yeah.
That's a good point, actually. Forget about Suno AI for now. Guys, listen in the chat. Please do me a favor. Smash the like button for me on the video. Smash the subscribe. Hit the notification bell. All that jam. I've also got here is Wolfie's channel as well at Forest Fan TV. Make sure you get over there and subscribe. I'm sure you guys have all subscribed already, but if you haven't, he is a hilarious man who goes around the houses trying to cook everybody. And he had a lot of fun cooking last season, didn't you? Didn't you, Wolfie, mate? When Forest were doing well, you had a lot of fun. And then this season, it's all gone a little bit Pete Tong.
I'm still enjoying cooking. You know who my primary target is at the moment is Chelsea fans. Like, I mean, we could go off on a tangent here, but
let's do it. Did you see that clip of CB and?
Oh my God, that was like, I was like, "Where's my popcorn? Where's my popcorn?" That was like, that epitomized the Chelsea fan base. And you know what? With these bloody Chelsea fans, they all run off the same script. I've been on loads of streams over the last 2 weeks of Chelsea boys. Different one every time. Same bullshit coming out their mouth, Sean. Same bullshit. And when you press them, I've got the Chelsea trappers, I call it. When you press them, they collapse. Because they're all happy with fourth this season. And then you say to them, okay, do you want to progress or regress? No, we want to progress. So how can you tell me fourth isn't regression? Seeing that you finished fourth last season, you won the World Cup, Club World Cup, champions of the world. You won the crappy Conference League, and you spent 350 million this summer. Oh, it's a process. All right, so you're the Blue Arsenal then. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. That's all they are. Trust the process and all this bollocks, man. But
where do they currently sit in the Champions League table, by the way?
No idea. No idea. I don't want
they
to
are currently. They're currently 13th. They're below Newcastle and Tottenham in the Champions League.
Yeah, but that's progress, bro. You got to trust the process. Trust the process.
I don't know if you can. Like, I'm sorry.
Spend like, 2 billion and trust the process. We'll win the league in 2035.
This is the thing, Wolfie, right? Like, at what point does there have to be some accountability on the amount of money that they have spent and on the lack of on the lack of serious charges they've made over the last 3-4 years under Todd Bowley, and all the gimmies they got. They got £1.5 billion debt write off because of the or dollar debt write off, whatever, because of the Ukraine war. They're probably going to get a slap on the wrist on this 75 charges, whatever it is, because Todd Bowley went sort of cap in hand and said, "Please, don't." All of the money they had, all of the cheating that went on, all of the money they've had since. And they still don't feel like they're that consistent or that. Obviously they're a decent, dangerous team, but they're also capable of really just shitting the bed at times.
Well, make this make sense, Sean. I got told from Chelsea fans that the reason they've had to do what they've done is so that they could comply with PSR. So why is it you had to sell your hotels and your women's team if what you were doing was to comply with PSR? Because clearly someone fucked up. And then for them to, then I got accused of, cheating. You guys broke PSR. You guys got points to the criminals and all this. And then they literally went to the police station, hands out like this, and said, arrest us. Arrest us. We found the dead body in the basement. It was there before we got there. But we are good citizens and we're coming in. Just arrest us. You say to them criminals, and they're like, well, no, we self-confessed. It's like,
well, this is the thing, right? Because the argument is, like, if you move into a house where the previous owner murdered someone and buried the body in the back garden, then you're not supposed to go to prison for murder, right? And that's fine. But if you are in some sort of competition where you're judged on the ability to generate revenue from your house and you start selling tickets to that house to come and see the murder spot, then you are kind of guilty of benefiting from the previous geezer.
Facts.
Right?
Facts. Exactly.
And they will continue to live on with their brand, like the brand value of a higher propensity to win trophies at Chelsea than elsewhere because of their ill-gotten gains and their ill deeds of a previous iteration of themselves.
Yeah.
Right?
By the way, someone's complaining about your mic. And your camera's freezing a little.
Hang on a second. Sorry, everybody. It's all echoey shit.
You see, you don't get this over on my channel. We're way more professional than Sean. Like, everything's set up and checked. You know what I'm saying? Then just turn up with our flat caps and just turn up and expect people to tune in. We appreciate the people that tune in. Now I can't hear you at all, Sean. Actually, it's nicer.
Is it? Oh, shut up, you mug. Is it better now?
Better.
Is it all better? Okay, perfect. Sorry about that. I was using the camera behind the microphone from the camera. Guys, before we get into Nottingham Forest, what's that?
You sound way sexier like that. A little bit of bass in that voice, and I like it.
Yeah, you wait until I've had 2 more of these ciders, mate. I'll be flirting with you like you wouldn't believe. Listen, guys, we got a couple of sponsors to get through today. OK Jersey is back, sponsoring the channel. As you know, you can get 8% off at checkout if you use code Sean. So for all of your football and sporting clobber, retro, new, all that stuff, whatever you want in the sporting category of clobber, search for OK Jersey, and you know where to go from there. But find the checkout point when you go to buy your stuff and stick in the code Sean, and you get 8% off. Please do get yourself over to OK Jersey. Christmas presents are around the corner for most of you if you haven't done it already, and so it might be a nice little place to spend some of your ill-gotten gains over the last year, whatever it is you do to raise your money. Appreciate everyone for being here. We're going to get into the Nottingham Forest game in just a second, but before we do, I also have, of course, to pay the bills with the wonderful people at the Coin Company who are going to give you an even bigger discount on the international shipping. If you fancy getting yourself, wait for it, Wolfie, something you haven't heard about for a long time. A winners 2025, the year of Tottenham Hotspur, the winners medal as a 1 ounce silver bar. Here's the ad, and all the details are in the description.
2025 has been an unforgettable year for Tottenham Hotspur fans as we saw our fantastic club lift its first European trophy in over 40 years. To celebrate our achievement, Tottenham Hotspur have partnered with the Coin Company, a precious metals specialist, to offer fans the chance to commemorate and remember our achievement by owning a limited edition 1 ounce silver bar. Beyond the aesthetics, silver is considered a fantastic inflation hedge, as well as being a key component in the manufacture of microchips for the AI revolution that we are all experiencing. And whilst this is not investment advice, there are plenty of reasons why you would want to own silver right now. So why not consider getting one of these for yourself or for a loved one this Christmas time? Only 2025 will ever be sold. And if you use code Sean at checkout, then not only will you receive 10% off the purchase price, you will also be entered into a prize draw where one lucky winner will win the 1 ounce silver bar with the special certificate of authentication code 1882, representing the year our great club was founded. So click the link in the comments or the description and it will take you to the Spurs website where you can find more information. And from there, if you click to purchase, it will take you to the Coin Company website where if you enter code Sean at checkout, you will receive that 10% discount and be entered into that prize draw. So make sure you commemorate this fantastic year with a fantastic lifelong present for yourself or a loved one.
Does that make you blush a little bit, Wolfie, that you haven't had the opportunity to win a
Mate, I was literally gonna say how much because I can get that for my brother, but you're gonna come with that kind of chest at me, man. Like seriously, and also I just want to.
It's a lovely investment, and it also does commemorate what a wonderful. Yeah, I'm going to come with the chest, bro. I would appreciate it if you did get one for your brother, but that doesn't mean I'm going to lay off the fact that Forest.
Wait, but I think there's a misprint on it. Shouldn't there be a star on top of that?
What's
oh
that?
No, wait, you didn't win the Champions League. I hear it. I hear it. I hear it. Just the Europa one.
Still counts though. Still counts, buddy. Still counts. European winners, even in the micro version of it. Mate, let's talk a little bit about.
You were very professional on that ad, man. I love the little slow zoom in as well.
Yeah, been working on my editing skills.
Very
man.
Professional.
It only took me.
Let's hope for you yet, Sean. Let's hope for you yet.
I like the fact that you have 2 cameras. You got 2 cameras, haven't you? In your get up.
I do. I got I may be over the top. I've got 4 screens, couple of cameras, a desk that goes up and down, and mad lights behind me.
You strike me as the sort of guy, right? Where if someone was to say, how is it that Wolfie does? If someone was asked someone else, how is it that Wolfie does this thing? Oh, he uses this particular software. Cool. Let me look it up. Oh, there's 4 different versions. Wait, which version has Wolfie got? He's got the best one. He's always got the best one. I reckon you're the sort of guy that if there's gold, silver, and platinum, I don't even look at the features. Just I want the best. If this is something, this is what I need.
Well, you're not wrong, Sean. When you come from a club that has 2 stars, you can't accept anything less than that standard. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you have to aim to be top dog. So it is what it is. Even this bloody roadcaster thing that I've invested in, I'm still trying to figure out how to use.
Oh, mate, I've got one of these. This bad boy.
Oh, wait, you got the duo, man. Come on, man. Just splash out. You're meant to be a big 6 team, man.
I don't even use it. I don't know what it does. I've got no idea how to set it up.
We need
I don't
to
even
talk.
use it.
We need to talk. There's a lot you can do with it. Like when someone does something stupid on stream, you just drop them and then
but I don't know. But you can do that shit on mine as well, but I don't know how to.
Yeah, but can you do this, Sean? Can you make your voice sound as sexy as this when you press the button? You know what I'm saying?
I just don't know how to get it to come through. Like whenever I push the button, nothing ever happens. Madness.
We'll talk. Good.
We'll talk. Yeah, 100%. Let me ask you this. Wolfie, was your plan for this season when Nuno finished around about April last year, when was it sort of maybe about sort of late March, April, when you were still sitting around 4th, 5th in the league, were you thinking that the rest of 2025 was going to go quite the way it did? 2 different managers following Nuno. Did you even imagine a Nuno sacking or Nuno dismissal, departure? Were you expecting Champions League? Were you thinking that there's going to be a 3rd star on that crest in about in the next 3 or 4 years? Were you really getting ahead of yourself, or were you calm with it at the time?
Well, I wouldn't say next 3 or 4 years. I was actually thinking next year. As in at the end of this year.
Yeah.
In January, I wasn't interested in Chelsea, Newcastle, but I was looking at Liverpool.
Really?
In January last year. Yeah. I was like, because we were playing them just in the new year. And if we beat them, we were going to go 2 points behind them. And we went 1-0 up after about 8 minutes. Chris Wood scored a lovely goal. And I was like, right, title race charge. Called up Nick. I was like, get the thumbnail ready.
Yeah, nice.
It's time. And then, it went to shit, mate. It went to shit. So did I think Nuno was going to be sacked? Yes, is the honest answer, even back then. Because
Why?
There was a lot of talks from the summer before that he wasn't quite happy. And it was a lot to do with the Edu rumors. I don't know if him and Edu have previous beef. I don't think they do. And then when Edu came in the summer, Nuno signed a contract in June, if I remember rightly. And Edu was officially announced in July. So at that stage, I'm looking at it thinking, okay, the reason he signed the contract is he's obviously happy with what's going on. We can go about our merry way. No Robin Hood pun intended there. But it was like things were looking good. Then we start splashing the cash out, 240 odd million spent, good players being signed. We fuck up Spurs with Morgan Gibbs-White. We always win and all that stuff. Yeah. And I'd never had a hairy chest, bro. Look that. I don't even shave it. That's legit my chest, yeah. And suddenly, still
versus me.
Whoa, wow, that's a rug.
Yeah, I'm not a rug. Yeah.
But suddenly shit was sprouting.
You should see my back. You should see my back, bro. It's not a pretty sight. I could tell. So you were getting. I was aware of you, but obviously we didn't know each other really back then. I think it was over the summer we popped on and sort of shared a camera a few times or whatever, or shared a stream.
Oh, that sounds so romantic.
It sounded a little bit weird, didn't it? But then it all sort of fell apart, right? At what point? So you were expecting Nuno to go. In hindsight, was it the wrong decision? And do you blame your owner for like letting his own expectations, his own aspirations get ahead of him? If it wasn't the Edu thing, what could possibly have been the other justification for their fallout?
Let me put it like this. This is the easiest way I've described it. No one wanted Nuno sacked for footballing reasons. No one. Right. I'd say 50 to 60% of the Forest fan base said Nuno needed to go after he said what he said. It reminds me a bit of what Mohamed Salah is doing right now. He's come out and spoken publicly, aired the dirty laundry. There should only be one winner in that. It should be slots, right? There's a hierarchy in football. I firmly believe in a hierarchy in football. The owner decided that he wants Edu. Rightly or wrongly.
Yeah.
Rightly or wrongly, he decided he wanted Edu. It's his club and it's his decision to make. Now, Nuno then coming out in his presser, manufacturing a way to get the conversation to him. And just so you know, in that morning, there was talks from serious journalists saying Nuno's about to be sacked. I spoke to the club. I was like, what are you not saying here? They told me categorically Nuno is not to be sacked. No one's talking about him being sacked. Nothing like that. And then he drops the bomber that he does. And then suddenly you start putting 2 and 2 together. I would say, this is me speculating now, he or his camp were feeding the journalists that narrative, knowing that that was what he wanted to say in the presser. And right. I just think to myself, okay, Nuno, how can you do this when one, Forest has rekindled your career? Yes, what you did for us was fantastic, but let's be real. After Spurs sacked you, you got shipped out to Saudi and your Premier League career was done. So he owes Forest a lot. We owe him a lot, but he owes us even more.
Yeah.
And I think to myself,
mutually beneficial kind of relationship.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree.
Exactly. And then I look at it like this. If because he started saying he wasn't speaking to the owner, the relationship had deteriorated. That's a tough word. Deteriorated. Yeah, I had to say it slowly. And what have you. How about if a player had come out and said that about Nuno? Let's just say, I don't know, let's say Anderson, for just first name that pops in the head. If Nuno had dropped Anderson and wasn't speaking to Anderson, and Anderson came out in the press, a bit like Salah, and started saying the relationship is gone, would Nuno be okay with that? Of course he wouldn't. So why is it okay above his head that he can talk out about those players? Right. So I think it was right to sack him, not for footballing reasons, but for the stupidity that he did. He should have just known his role, shut up, and realize it's not his club. He don't own it. Respect the authority and get on with it. Or don't sign your contract. Because let's not forget, Edu was appointed unofficially in probably September last year. And he had the 6 months, 8 month gardening leave, whatever it was. So Nuno knew he was coming. And we all know how business works. Conversations are still happening, gardening leave or not. So he signed the contract knowing Edu was coming in, knowing the recruitment strategy and everything. I just think he wanted out of Forest and he was manufacturing it. So for me, he had to go. And I think my biggest thing that I can't stand about it is he threw the game against West Ham. We absolutely destroyed Brentford in that first game. Bro, I'm telling you, I haven't seen Forest play like prime Grimsby, let alone prime Barcelona, the way we did in that game. Then we went to Palace and drew. Then there was this, that's when the bomber had been dropped. And then West Ham, who were absolutely dire, he throws the game 3-0. He doesn't play Hutchinson. He wouldn't play Douglas Luiz. He was hell-bent on not playing Douglas Luiz at all because it was an Edu signing. Hutchinson was an Edu signing. He wanted Adama Traore, bro. Like his whole beef was about Adama Traore. Okay. So he had to go. That then moves us on to Ange. I think that was Marinakis' ego. I think Marinakis saw that Ange won the Europa League, Forest are in the Europa League, 1 + 1 = Ange. And he just appointed him. He'd given him an award because obviously Greek heritage and what have you. So they were boys, even though Ange says they're not boys. And then Ange comes in and then it becomes the Ange show. I actually think Ange was harshly treated.
Were you ever on board it? But
yeah, I was. Yeah, I was fine with Ange.
You were fine, yeah?
I was fine with Ange because I thought to myself, with this squad that they put together, he will play a Douglas Luiz. He will play a Hutchinson. He will play attacking football. And I think if Spurs fans really deep it now, if they look back on it, and I'm sure like they won't admit to it, but have you really seen that much of an improvement since Thomas Frank has come in with, I would say, a better squad than Ange had? You've leaked more goals than Ange has, and Thomas Frank's meant to be this pragmatic manager who's going to keep, the clean sheets. I think Ange has conceded less goals in the same time frame to what Thomas Frank has.
I think the at the start, the Tottenham Hotspur narrative, right? Again, there's always agendas at play here, right? Like a lot of the kind of popular content creators that hated Ange, they came in and they backed Thomas Frank and then they were dying on certain hills. And when you spend a lot of time, as you know, mate, when you spend a lot of time looking at YouTube, watching YouTube, you start to get kind of like affected and infected by what you hear all the time. So you have this like wave of people that like didn't think that Ange deserved to be sacked and would look for any reason to criticize Thomas Frank. And you'd have the people that wanted Ange gone at all costs and then will die on the hill and defend some of the shit that you were seeing on the Thomas Frank. And there was very little kind of balance. And I've like ever since Daniel Levy's left the football club, he was the last hill I'll ever die on. I feel like I'm more intelligent than to have made the mistake of dying on a hill for someone who doesn't even know you exist. When in football everything can change very quickly, and I've learned that lesson. I'll never do it again. So now, like with people like Thomas Frank, I wasn't married to him. I probably thought I did say that Ange should go, but I wasn't Ange out until quite late, and it wasn't because of his football. I was Ange out. It was because of his the words that he spoke and the double speak. It was just him always making an excuse, always finding a reason to justify. It's not this. Your narrative is that, but really you're not looking at it from this point of view. And it was always just a lot of hypocrisy and double speak. So I was Ange out, but then when it came to Thomas Frank, I was like, I think this is a sideways step. He hasn't done anything to make me think that he's going to be the great guy. He came in and initially we were very tight at the back. And then as soon as we started to try to throw a bit more caution to the wind, we started to concede loads more goals. And the difference is that he has had, for the most part, a solid back four.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas Ange, when he went through the horrendous situation where we were just getting torn apart for large parts of last season, he didn't have a back four. Archie Gray was playing as a centre back, and we had injuries to Destiny Udogie and Micky van der Ven, Romero. They had injuries at points as well. So
Sean, let me ask you this, because this is the thing that bugs me about the Spurs fan base. And by the way, your fan base is not far behind Chelsea's, right? So
tapped. We're all tapped, yeah.
It's crazy. Why is it when you were getting the injuries under Ange, it was Ange's fault? Yet when I look at your injury list now, it's not Thomas Frank's fault. Now, Maddison, I can grant, because Maddison got it was the ACL or whatever it was in the preseason tour. But you have a long injury list. And I'm not hearing anyone saying it's Frank's training methods that are causing this. Whereas last year, Van der Ven is out because of Ange. Romero is out because of Ange.
Yeah.
Yet when I look back at Spurs, and I've seen Spurs for a long time, your injury records have never been great. I remember the likes of Anderton only being fit when an England call-up was required for a major tournament. You know what I'm saying? There's been loads of consistent poor injury records at Spurs. But why is it that Ange was singled out and not Thomas Frank now?
I think it's because, well, first of all, this season we've been in obviously the Champions League, and so there's not that much time to train, right? So you're 2 days playing a week, you're 2 days traveling, you're 2 days recovery. There's probably only one full day on the training ground, I would imagine, right? And I'm sure there's days off and stuff in there. But I also think the style of injuries. I think we had a hell of a lot of hamstring injuries last year. It's not necessarily, I think the training thing was a bit of a misnomer, but certainly the style of play encouraged more sprints and more like the fullbacks, and the fullbacks were doing sprints sprinting up, sprinting back, sprinting up, sprinting back. Because of the style of play and the amount of transitions we were going through, there was just non-stop sprints in our team. And so that encouraged the style of injuries that we were getting. We were getting so many hamstring injuries. So for the most part, the long-term injuries that we have under Thomas Frank have been long-term injuries that started before him, like Solanke, Maddison, Kulusevski, for example. The other injuries have been sort of soft tissue injuries. So not quite, not necessarily down to the same sort of rigmarole, I guess, of the style of play. So I think that's possibly part of it. But I was never really someone that blamed Ange Postecoglou in terms of training, because we were still playing.
But there was a narrative. There was definitely a narrative. I think what you said a few minutes ago about if you were Ange out, Thomas Frank is the Messiah. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I've seen a lot of that. Whereas I think there needs to be a more balanced approach to it, where you can be Ange out, but that does not necessitate that Thomas Frank is the Messiah. You can, do you know what I mean? Just because he's the new guy, it doesn't mean. And I understand the whole give him time and everything. My biggest bugbear of Thomas Frank is he reminds me a lot of Harry Potter from Brighton. When you look at what Potter did, he moved from Brighton, did what he did with Brighton, moved to Chelsea, and it just didn't work. And I kind of feel the same thing's going to happen with Frank. I don't think he had the credentials to take Spurs on as a job. I really don't. And I think something I was saying when I was on We Are Tottenham is maybe it's the system that they were in that helped them more. Because Brighton post Graham Potter did absolutely fine. They sold players.
I made this argument in the summer before if you're going to say people that sit there and say the reason why you've got to have Thomas Frank is because of look at what he's done to previous players, his ability to coach. I'm someone that always plays devil's out. I'm a contrarian by nature, right? So if someone's pushing a narrative, I'll go, well, hang about. What about this side? It's not that simple. You can't. There's not a big enough sample size, Wolfie, of Brentford management to be able to determine whether people like Ivan Toney and and Boumos and Vissers and etc. yada yada yada, whether or not they were always destined to be great players because of unbelievable scouting, or whether it was because of coaching. But you can look at Brighton, who have an incredibly similar model, and see 3 or 4 different managers that have gone through that have all come out of there looking like they smell of roses, when the rest of their career since has looked like they smell of shit. Graham Potter being a great example, right? So is it down, like, was Graham Potter the guy who was responsible for McAllister, for Caicedo and for Cucurella, etc., or was he just the recipient of unbelievable
of that ecosystem? Which, because if we're honest, I would say a lot of YouTubers and fans in general in the summer were saying Brentford have lost Thomas Frank, backroom staff, Tony gone, Vissa gone, Mbeumo gone. They're going down. Yet when you look at how Brentford are playing, nothing really has massively changed.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's an
Completely
ecosystem.
agree.
So you look at it and think, was Thomas Frank just part of the bigger cog that was moving? Or was he part of the reason? Now, I'm not discrediting what he did. I don't want people to kind of take what I'm saying wrong. But there has to be an element of that. Because if he is meant to be this pragmatic manager, sorts out your defense and stuff, he's had your first choice defense and didn't. Yet you're conceding more goals. And for me, his biggest issue, because I saw him in the championship as well, I don't think he knows how to balance attack and defense. I think he can either get a team to defend really well or attack well, but at the cost of the other, if that makes sense. So if you're defending too much, he's going to struggle to get the goals. If he's attacking too much, he's going to be too open at the back. He can't quite get that balance, in my personal opinion. You're on mute, bro. You're on mute.
Sorry. I completely agree with you. At the moment, I think that it's a similar thing with most managers that come through Tottenham. If you want to play sort of aggressive front foot football, I'm just not sure. I think everything comes back to the midfield. For me, we have a fairly good, solid defense, right? We have decent, like Destiny Udogie, Jed Spence, Pedro Porro. They're not perfect, but they're good, solid defenders. I want to talk to you about a combined 11 when we actually come to this feature in a minute, the Tottenham Forest game. But the actual and the centre backs options we've got, I like Kevin Danso, and obviously I love Micky van der Ven and Romero. They're good. They're good enough to be solid. And I think that yes, we do need more help in the front line. Obviously, everyone knows that I don't think we have a horrendous front line, but it's certainly not a top 6 front line compared to. I think your front line is arguably competitive at times. I like some of the wide guys that you've got. I know they're not having a great season, but I like Dan and Doy. I loved him when he was in Italy. I like Amari Hutchinson. I think he's a super talent. I think he'll become a great player in the future if he's played the right way. But anyway, my point being that for me, the midfield at Tottenham is obviously the link between how much caution can you throw to the wind, how much emphasis can you put on the attack, knowing that you've got people there that can get you out of trouble in transition. And I think that we have too many similar profiles and have had for a while. We never really fully replaced players like Wanyama, players like Dembele. And then we're going back years, like 6-7 years.
We still have good players. Yeah.
Fantastic players, right? But if you want to build a team,
you guys call him the Doctor, if I remember rightly.
Called who the Doctor?
I think the other Spurs players called him the Doctor because they said, give him the ball, he'll always make things better. I think was something my brother told me once, apparently.
I can't remember hearing that one.
My brother told me that.
Maybe. Oh, there you go. Yeah. How old's your brother?
He's 5 years younger than me. So
is he? Does he go to Tottenham? Where do you live, by the way?
I'm in Peterborough, but he is not going under Frank. And then let me put it like that. He's struggling to watch Frank ball. Quite frankly, I don't blame him. He's barely finding the energy to watch it on the TV, let alone go, bro. And I kind of feel that sentiment is in the Spurs fan base. I mean, you guys weren't even selling out your Champions League quota. Weren't you like at 40k?
Oh yeah, it was madness, mate. I think it was 45k or something at the Slavia Prague game. Madness. Crazy. Yeah. But I don't know how much of that do you think is down to just the fact that it's Christmas time and the fact that the economy sucks and everyone's a little bit strapped. We've got a terrible woman in charge of the account.
Put it this way, I'd be surprised if Arsenal had those numbers ever. Christmas time, Easter time,
right?
Eid time or whatever. I think maybe it's something to do with the pricing. I think the pricing is horrific at Spurs.
Yeah,
I just don't think this football is engaging enough. As much as I love bantering Spurs and everything, I traditionally see Spurs as a front foot team. And it's a team that you would watch as, okay, I can't call myself neutral when it comes to Spurs, but usually I can expect myself to see a good game of football. Win, lose, or draw, there's going to be an element of, attack in the Spurs team. You might concede some crazy goals and what have you. There's going to be entertainment. And I see that as the kind of thread of Spurs' historic football style. So when I've seen the likes of Nuno at Spurs, I knew it wasn't going to work. I don't think your fan base was going to be keen on him. And I see a bit of that in Thomas Frank. that the problem you have with this style of football, it is only acceptable when you are winning. Therefore, a manager who comes in who wants to play counter-attack, low block, whatever you want to call it, is making their lifespan shorter at Spurs by choosing that option. Because I think if Spurs fans were seeing front-footed football on the attack and the results are the same as they are, you're seeing an identity in there that you guys can relate to. I don't know if you agree with me on kind of the DNA of Spurs or how Spurs don't see it, but I think you can relate to that and you can give him more time because that's the style of football you want to see. Like for me, my brother always talks to me about the Poch era. He loves the Poch era. He did fuck all in the Poch era, but he loved the football in the Poch era. And therefore, he would take Poch back tomorrow. He would take him back tomorrow.
I think a lot of Tottenham fans would, Wolfie. I think this idea of the Spurs, the way that Spurs play, obviously it started a long time before Poch, right? But then we went through a period where we weren't doing it. I think it's a little bit of a myth for most people that are like watching this show, like most people that are in their 30s or 20s, whatever or 40s, they probably don't remember or never saw the original version of Tottenham. But football was a lot different back then. They helped their whole different systems, whole different kind of styles. Poch sort of brought something like that back, but at the time he took over a project and we had young players and it all kind of grew into some crescendo. Yeah. And I've said this a million times, the crescendo being the new stadium was just about to emerge. We went to Wembley and we were selling out Wembley, week in, week out, because we were playing in the Champions League and playing great football with young players, and it was attractive. It was still balanced, though. It was still balanced, right? And people like the harmony, the relationships we had between centre backs like Toby Alderweireld and Jan Vertonghen, Danny Rose on the left, sort of Kieran Trippier at the end, or Kyle Walker, whatever. It was all, and we had some fantastic players, and they all sort of built together. And then it was all going like this. It was a nice steep trajectory where everyone was happy, everyone was enjoying it. And then suddenly we get to the Champions League final. And then the next season, we dropped £1 billion.
2 minutes in Hamble.
Yeah. and then we crashed from there for the last 6 years. And everyone's sort of lingering on to that hope. But the way I always describe it is it's like you bought a cryptocurrency at the top, and then the rug was pulled on the account, and you resent the coin creator, or you resent something that really isn't the fault of the person. It was because your expectations were artificially set at a ridiculous high price, a ridiculously high point, because we weren't really that team. We weren't really Champions League final level quality. We weren't that great, especially when we got to it. Things were the cracks were starting to emerge. But then we moved to this new stadium, and then we couldn't buy players for 500 days or whatever it was, and everything just fell out. We never replaced the players we had. And then even over the next 3 or 4 years, you still had Sonny and Kane that were kind of really tidying things up for us. And I think
I'm talking about like fans of kind of our age. We're both 24 here, right, Sean? So I look back at Spurs. I remember the famous five. I didn't think that was a great team. Like, what was it? Klinsmann,
Sheringham, Anderson.
Yeah, those guys. And you weren't a great team, but you were entertaining to watch. I mean, we used to slap you up every game back then. Yeah. Just a little side note.
Yeah, you used to sing. We always beat Tottenham, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
I remember the game in the snow that got called off.
Oh, mate, that triple header. Me and my brother got grounded for 2 weeks after that one. That penalty shootout.
Was that 96, 95, 96? Something like that, was it?
That man is 2023, bro. Don't make us old here.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah.
But yeah, it ended up, didn't it? They called it off. Replay, Ian Wone's free kicks. Oh my God, they're still some of my favorite goals then. And then the penalty shootout. And then Brian Royce.
He's a left foot, wasn't he? Left foot, like a wild left foot.
Well, he's now assistant manager, isn't he, under Sean Dyche? So he's in there as well. But that's what I relate to when I'm talking about Spurs. And yeah, I know what you're saying. Like, I actually went to a North London derby with my brother when you were in Wembley. And I think you beat them 1-0, if I remember rightly. Yeah. And they were crap and you were dominating. It felt like there was a little shifting of the balance where Spurs were going to overtake Arsenal. And I just think your club kind of shit the bed a bit. But there is factors. You've got to look at, let's not forget when Arsenal moved from Highbury to the Emirates. They weren't spending the money. They wanted to clear the debt.
8 years for them to win their first trophy. It took us 6.
Exactly. They were buying duds. Do you know what I'm saying? So there was like a lot of that going on. So I think sometimes Spurs fans are a bit too overcritical of the ecosystem that's had to happen. As much as I take the piss about Beyonce concerts and F1 and everything, that's generating a shitload of money for Spurs. Yeah. So Spurs will never be in trouble.
I genuinely think that Spurs fans, I spent the last 3 years saying this, like everyone who hates Daniel Levy, it's an easy opinion to have if you don't understand. And again, I hate to come across like, oh, I understand something you don't, because that sounds so superior and it's bullshit. It's nonsense. I'm just saying, but like people, if you understand finance, if you understand those sorts of things, or at least if you're curious enough to look into the kind of context, then and you come with it with an open mind and you don't come with a conclusion, then you can see that it wasn't. Certainly, there was loads of mistakes in the last 100, like so many mistakes, too many to mention. But it wasn't as simple as saying it's a lack of ambition that is responsible, and our owner being a dickhead, our chairman being a dickhead that is the reason why we fell off. There's so much more to it than that. And hopefully now that if he has gone, he's under investigation, obviously under a new audit around why certain things happened. Hopefully, when all that stuff gets to the bottom, when we get to the bottom of that, there's going to be money to spend. Rumours out today, according to reports, that we're going to drop at least £150 million in January. I don't believe any of that shit. We'll believe it when we see it. But I hope that we're getting to the point now where like the money can still be generated and there's a better group of people that have a better relationship with the art of negotiation that can allow us to go and find some better players. But I agree. Listen, back to the sort of the topic though, whether Thomas Frank is the right guy or not, I don't know. I personally don't think he'll be the guy, because I just don't think I think he still treats some of the narratives that he puts out. I think some of them come across like he's still on Brentford settings, where he thinks a draw against United is always a good result. And I'm like, that's not good enough for me. But let's talk a bit about Sean Dyche, mate, Wolfie. Are you happy with Dyche? Do you like him? I feel like your aspirations as a Nottingham Forest fan are a little bit stronger than the quality that Dyche can provide. Is that fair?
That is very fair. No, I'm not a Dyche fan. This isn't I have to say this, and I get so much shit from my lot for it, but Dyche isn't what we were expecting to be. I'll go back to what you said. Did I expect Forest in January of last year to be, headed up by Sean Dyche this time 12 months later? Hell no. So I'm not a Dyche fan at all. It's nothing against him. I don't like his style of play, and I don't like what he's tagged at. He, for me, is a firefighter. I've got him in the same bracket I would put Sam Allardyce in. Do you know what I mean? One of those guys who needs to get something out of trouble. Now, did Forest put themselves in that situation that required a Sean Dyche? I would still argue no. I've never thought at any point, even when we dropped into 18th a few weeks back, that Forest are in a relegation battle. There's at least 6 shitter teams in the league than Forest.
Yeah.
And with the quality of our squad. Now, there is a lot that needs to be said about the players and what they're doing on the pitch and what they're not doing. But Sean Dyche, for me, wasn't the answer. I think Forest should have, after Nuno, gone and got Marco Silva, who would come to Forest, who has worked with Marinakis before at Olympiacos, who has a very good relationship with him. And it would have cost us 14 million to get the, the compensation clause done. Because they went with Ange and had to pay Ange off, then getting Marco Silva almost became off the table, because it would have been an additional 14 million on what you paid out on Nuno and what you've paid out on.
Do you know how much you had to pay? How much was Ange earning, and how long was his contract?
Well, I heard silly figures like for the 8 games they've given him somewhere between like 7 million. I mean, he's cashed in off your club and my club, bro. Big time. So I don't know what the figures are, but there's a lot of talk about them. So do I think Sean Dyche is going to do a good job at Forest? I think he's going to do an adequate job at Forest. Could Sean Dyche go and win the Europa League? Yes, I think he could, but not because of him, because of the squad. I think the squad to do it. Now, does that sound hypocritical when I've taken the piss out of Spurs fans for saying, oh, it wasn't Ange that won it, it was the squad? Of course it does. But you know what? We're tribal. We're football fans. That's how it works. So for me, I can stomach Sean Dyche as long as
you think Forest have legitimately got a chance for the Europa League.
I do, because the quality in the Europa League is fucking shocking. It really is. Like, I would say teams in there, I think Villa are probably favourites. I look at Roma and I look at Lyon and maybe Porto as the main threats in there. And then Forest. Like, let me. This is the crazy thing about it.
Not worried about Midfield, or are you worried about them or not?
Well, we lost to them, didn't we?
Yeah.
You see, at the top 8 right now in the Europa. But
you were good against Matisse, right? You drew 0-0, didn't you?
We drew 2-2. We were 2-1 up, and then Anthony scored in the 85th minute. But out of those teams in the top 8, Sean, Midtjylland, Betis, Fenerbahce, however you say their name, Braga, Porto, they're all teams that Forest had in their 8 games.
Right.
So it just shows you the quality of it. I remember looking at it and thinking, they're pretty easy teams. So we're sitting there 1 point off it, and then you look through the rest of it, and you're just like, it's dross.
Yeah,
and I'd go a step further, Sean. I think there's a lot of dross in the Champions League. A lot of dross.
I agree.
And it's extending out of the tables to make them 32 teams or whatever they are. I look at that, I say Lyon, Villa, Porto, Rome, maybe Betis. They're the only ones who should even be in with a sniff, including Forest.
Who's your last 2 games against, Wolvie?
It's against Braga and Fenerbahce, however you say their name.
Okay, so you got to play those guys again as well. Okay, so you will finish top 8. If you win your last 2 games, you'll definitely finish top 8, because it's very similar to Tottenham, right? So Tottenham are about 11th, and then we've got a couple of games against teams that are in and amongst us. If we win, obviously you need other teams above you to lose, and if you
we're playing both of them.
You will win. Okay, right.
Yeah. So, like, the one thing I don't want, I think Forest have already qualified for the next stage. What I don't want to do is get in the playoffs, because that's going to add 2 more games. That's my issue with it. It's already a congested fixture and everything else. So I'm not too worried about it. So can Sean Dyche win it? Going back to your question, yes, he can, which would be absolutely crazy, because I don't see him as a European pedigree manager at all. I really don't.
It would be massive. It would be massive for Forest if they could.
It'd be massive for Forest.
You've got an owner who, that obviously Tottenham fans have a hatred for, because of what happened, right, with Morgan Gibbs-White. But you were never someone that actually was that. Am I sort of replaying history wrong here? But at the time, you were like, Gibbs-White isn't that fucking special. If everything he does that's good, he does 4 things that he doesn't need to do and ends up giving the ball away.
Correct. And I had all the Spurs fans saying to me, oh, you're just saying that because you're salty about it. No, I've been saying for at least 2 years, Gibbs-White, I call him Forest's version of Bruno Fernandes. Because when you watch him on Match of the Day or in a highlights reel, he looks unreal, Messi-like at some points.
Yeah.
But what you're not watching is the other 85 minutes where his trick has cost us a goal on the edge of the box. His pass has gone out of play. His shots has cleared the Trent end and ended up in the river. And that's my issue with what he... I actually think if he just played more simple football, he would be unbelievable. He would be even better than he is. And that's what I was saying. And I was saying to Spurs fans over the summer, I don't think he's in our top 5 of best players in the team. No, you can't say
Who are your best players in your opinion?
Anderson, Murillo, Nico Williams, last season Chris Wood and Alanga, and then I'd put Gibbs-White in there. So that's where I had him. And that was a genuine thing. It's something I've been saying like all of last season as well. I think Forest could have operated without Gibbs-White quite comfortably. Now, would I have sold him in the summer? I wanted him sold, but I didn't want him to go to Spurs just because I didn't want him to go to my brother's team, right? But I was happy. There was links with him in Man City. I'm like, cool, 60 million. I remember doing a few streams with Sav over the summer saying, how much do you think he's worth? And I think 60 million is bang on the price tag for him, because you're adding English tags, you're adding homegrown tags, etc.
Do you see him more as a 10 or an 8, though?
I personally see him still as an 8. I don't think he's a 10. I think had he gone to Spurs, I think it would have worked out nicely. Assume, say, Maddison didn't get his injury. Or now you got Xavi Simons, and then you put Paulinho alongside Gibbs-White. That's quite a balanced midfield. Play Gibbs-White as the 8. Because one thing I've never taken away from Gibbs-White is his work rates. They are unbelievable, bro. He will get up and down that pitch. He will put a shift in.
like a Conor Gallagher. It's a sort of
Yeah,
player, right?
solid work rates. And he does have the passing range. He just overdoes it. He just reminds me of me when I'm playing FIFA. I can't just pass the ball. I got to do a little trick pass.
L1 triangle rather
Exactly,
than a
man.
triangle.
Yeah, Elasticos, freaking Lucrochettas, all this. It's like, it didn't need it, you know. Playing duels with my mate, he's like, bro, I'm 2 yards from you. Like, was it necessary? So it's kind of that thing. So that's where I am with him. But he has played better since he got dropped from England. I think that's lit a bit of a fire in his belly. I think he will be pumped up for this game. He's always played best against Wolves, his ex-club, because they give him so much abuse. And he always seems to score against them, apart from this game the other day where he was crap. But I think he'll be up for this one. And I wouldn't be surprised. 1-0 Gibbs-White scores. That would be hilarious.
Is that your prediction?
I honestly, like Banter is, I think it's going to be a dead 0-0 game. Dead game, bro. 2 horrible coaches. I think Thomas Frank will go there under the assumption that Forest are at home, therefore Forest will be on the front foot. Dyche will go under the assumption that he is Dyche and he has to play on the back foot. I think we have a scenario with the kickoff.
Both teams are going to try and give their ball to other teams and let them play.
I think worse than that, bro. I think the whistle goes to start the game and the ball's just left on the center circle. 90 minutes ago. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be that.
I don't disagree. But I still think in those games you can still end up, if there's an early goal, then it obviously changes the dynamic. You know. How do you see? So, what's your sort of with regards to the game specifically? I mean, my concerns for Tottenham. I'll start with this way, then we'll go from there. My concerns for Tottenham are that you've got 2 of the best centre backs that can just bully and dominate aerially in Murillo and Milenkovic, right? 2 great, and they're perfect for his system in terms of like just getting there and frustrating the life. I look at Neco Williams and I look at the Italian boy who plays on the right. What's his name?
Savona,
yeah. And I think we can get at them, but at least for Kudus, I think Kudus could get at Neco Williams. However, if you're going to then whip the ball in, and Tottenham made this mistake against Fulham, right? We're playing a 2-man up top. We've got Mawani, who's fairly decent in the air, and Richalison, who's fairly decent in the air. And we decided to whip balls in, and we put 17 balls into the Fulham box. And they have Calvin Bassey, who's a big unit, and Joaquin Anderson, and they're very good in the air. Very good in the air. And they won every single aerial threat. And over the course of the game, I think it was 32, 33 crosses, and I think we had 2 complete. But yeah, it was horrendous. I think it was a bad setup. But I don't think we had the players to necessarily play around sort of players like Murillo and Joaquin Anderson either, because they're not like immobile. They're very good centre backs. So I just worry about whether or not we're going to go toe to toe and try to and do the same thing we did against Fulham and come up short when we have the ball. Just put it in the box and hopefully something will drop. For me, I'd like to see Tottenham do something a little bit, try and play around them, try and use Xavi more if he is going to play. But I just sit there and think that my thought is that Thomas Frank is going to sit there and think, well, you can't put the ball into Richarlison at his feet and expect him to be able to create too much. So therefore, you have to work to his strengths. But his strengths also happen to be Forest's strengths. So that's my concern from a Tottenham perspective. What's your sort of take on that before we talk about Forest's?
I kind of agree with what you're saying. I think for me, Neco Williams is our unsung hero. I actually think he's been better than Anderson. That's how good he's been. And he's a natural right back. I think he's going to have a tough game against Kudus. I think that's where your threat lies. I get what you're saying on the aerial thing, but this season Forest have been a little bit weak at the back from aerials in, especially dead balls.
Okay.
Yeah. But mainly because Murillo hasn't been in. Now, Murillo for me is almost a complete centre back apart from in the air. He sometimes gets under the ball, under the flight of the ball, and can misjudge it. But in general, he's improved heavily on it. Milenkovic, he can header balls out of play away all day long. He's just a brute. I know you're a fan of him. We've talked about him many a time before. But
big fan for horses for courses.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want your centre backs if they were playing. To be honest, I wasn't paying too much attention, but did Milenkovic and Murillo struggle under a highline handball? Just out of curiosity, they must have done, right?
Murillo was injured. That was the problem. I think Murillo would suit that because Murillo is very techy as well. He can pick the ball up and just dribble through. Brazilian. He's Brazilian, isn't he? He's got that DNA. He can dribble.
Who's his replacement? Is it Morato you've got? Is it Morato the third?
Yeah, Morato is just a bit of a battering ram. I don't rate him too highly. He's got a lot of mistakes in him. Basically, put it this way: if Murillo plays, I feel Forest will win. If Murillo doesn't play, I think Forest lose. It's that black and white for me when it comes to Murillo. Milenkovic looks better for me when Murillo's playing. Last season, Milenkovic made Murillo better. This season, I think Murillo has surpassed him, and he is becoming that player. If Murillo is still at Forest next season, I will be ecstatic. Like I could see him being linked to one of the big boys in Europe, especially in the Spanish world, because obviously Brazilian background and what have you. I think
is just quickly on that particular point. Just sorry to interject.
No.
Is there truth to this notion of John Textor and Marinakis? I mean, we heard last week that they're like, we're not in partnership, but we're kind of friends with benefits or whatever. You know what I mean? It's a bit weird, bit distorted. But a lot of the transition of value has been from John Textor's relationships into Forest. I mean, there's been one or two that have gone the other way. Was it Danilo? Was it that left and went to Brazil?
Yeah.
Do you think that maybe Murillo will get shipped on into one of sort of John Textor's ecosystems?
It'll be too big for one of his clubs. There is definitely a relationship between the two. I think Palace blew it all out of proportion, right? But like it's like I don't know, man. It's like if me and you decided to start doing collabs. You're a Spurs fan, I'm a Forest fan. Like, does that now become illegal because we support different teams? Everything they've done has been above board. Has there been friends with benefits? Yeah, of course there has, right? But I just think Palace fans were so salty about it because of what happened to them in the summer. That was their fault. It wasn't Forest's fault. That they're trying to push this narrative.
You're still sticking strong on that opinion, yeah.
Right, I'll tell you what, it came out a week or two ago on Parish's contract that he had to run things by Textor. So it's literally written in his contract. So,
oh, really?
Yeah. So I've got the article.
Textor came out and said on TalkSport, didn't he, that he's like, I'm 40% owner, Parish only owns 10%, but yet I don't get to have my say at all. Like it's a fucking
exactly, and he was partly behind Glasner going into to Palace. So apparently the whole thing got dismissed very quickly when it went to CAS on the tribunal because of they had a copy of Parish's contract. But that's we digress. But I think I don't know what the best way to beat us is. I would say what you said, if you did that down your left-hand side, our right-hand side, you'd have better change. I actually think maybe switching Kudos to the left-hand side would be more beneficial to you. I think Nico Williams will do well against Kudos. He will struggle.
Nico Williams is playing right back. I thought Nico Williams was playing left back at the moment.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, avoid Nico Williams and target Savona.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, gotcha.
So if you go down your left, you'll get some change out of Savona. But I just think we're going to have the same issues as you. We overcross the ball. We just almost blindly ball lump forward. If it's gone to a winger, just whip it into the box. Oh shit! No, should we wait for some midfielders to make some breaking runs? And no, let's just chuck it in there for Igor Jesus and 5 other defenders around him. So we have very similar problems to Spurs. That's why I feel these two managers' styles aren't a million miles apart in terms.
And they're best mates, aren't they? I don't know if you saw Thomas Frank's pre-match press. Yeah, he's like, they goes, oh, it's very well known, documented that you and Sean Dyche have got like, you know, your BFF or whatever. You know, how do you find time with your traveling and his traveling? How do you find time to like, you know, have a glass of wine or talk football or whatever? And he said, oh, you know, he basically said, look, obviously we have to do our own work and stuff, but we're cut from the same cloth. We share the same problems. We share the same frustrations. We have the same experiences. So, yeah, there's couples dinners and all sorts of things. So, like the two of them are best mates.
That, but it doesn't surprise me, mate. It really doesn't surprise me. Similar minds thinking alike and all that. Yeah. My God.
Yeah. So what's your predicted 11, mate? Before I want to. Obviously, I'm not going to take up too much more of your time. We'll go for like an hour, another 15 minutes if you've got it. I do want to do a combined 11 to see where we're at, sort of two teams. But in terms of in terms of your outlet, obviously the midfield battle, I would concede that your midfield battle, if it's going to have Elliot Anderson and Gibbs-White, and then one of other, I don't know, it's
Sangare or Douglas Luiz. It'll be one of those two.
Yeah. So Sangare is a player that I actually, before he went to Forest, when he was playing at PSV, is it PSV Eindhoven?
PSV, yeah.
Yeah, when he was playing at PSV, I think I did a Y Scout report and said to the guys on the channel here, I said, this is a player that I think Tottenham could look at. I wouldn't say he's like a superb player, but his stats in PSV were phenomenal. Do you rate Sangare?
I highly rate him, but he is very divisive in the Forest fan base. He's been injured so long. He went to AFCON. He's about to go to AFCON again. People
always
say
fit for the international team, yeah.
Sorry?
Always fit for the internationals.
Always fit for the international team, one of those ones, yeah. I really like him, and I think it's the pace of the Premier League is something he's struggled with a bit, but he's very good at playing balls between the lines going forward. Yeah. And that's one of my frustrations with Forest. And again, maybe it's similar with Spurs, is we go sideways and backwards way too much, and the pace of the play is too slow. So yeah, I do agree with you. I would like to see this weekend Anderson and Douglas Luiz as our midfield too. I just that arouses me, bro. I can't even lie. That for me, Douglas Luiz played yesterday. He was brilliant. It's his first game back from an injury with his hamstring, and he was just brilliant. And then at halftime, he got subbed off for Anderson, and it was like watching the same player. I was like, come on, really? Please, Sean, put them together on the same pitch. Let's see what they can do. And in fact, the one game where it has happened, and it's only happened once, where we had Sangare, Douglas Luiz, and Elliot Anderson, was the first half against Real Betis, and we destroyed them. Like, it was beautiful to watch. That was under Ange. So yeah, I think midfield, I think we have the better midfield. My issue is Sean Dyche bypasses it with the long balls. That's my biggest bugbear about it. Give it to Anderson. He's techie on the ball. Give it to Douglas Luiz. He's techie on the ball. Let them control the game. So if you want my starting 11, I think it will be Sells in goal. It will be Savona, Milenkovic, Murillo, Nico Williams as the back four. And I think it will be Anderson and Sangare. But I would like to see Anderson and Douglas Luiz as the two there. Gibbs-White in the 10. I think he'll go Amari Hutchinson on the right, Hudson-Odoi on the left, and then Jesus up front. I pray he drops Dan and Doy, because
you don't rate Dan and Doy, no?
I rated him coming into Forest. I've been not just disappointed, angrily disappointed with how poor he's been, bro. And what annoys me,
an acclamation process, mate. Is it Bologna he came from, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like he was a baller at Bologna. You know, like, you got to give the guy a little bit of time, Wolfie. Give him a little bit of time.
I've tried, bro. I know he's a good player, bro, but he's literally cost us 2 goals by being offside or in front of the shot yesterday against Jesus. It's not even that, right?
You got a new Brennan Johnson settings. Always sits offside. Not enough going on to recognize what you're doing, you know?
You know what? He does remind me of a slower Brennan Johnson, but at least Brennan Johnson could finish. Like, his crosses are like Brennan Johnson's. They're always behind the players or under hit or over hit. Like, Brennan Johnson could never get across in the air. All Brennan Johnson's balls were on the ground, so at least Dan and Doy can get a bit of height on his crosses.
Yeah. It's like he was playing in indoor football where he grew up playing.
Yeah,
if you hit the height rule. Battle the roof.
Yeah. Do you remember that rule? Yeah, it must be under head height or it's a free kick. I don't know if they still do that, but yeah. So that would be the team I go with. Now, my one, I really like Hutchinson. I really like Hutchinson.
Amazing, a really good talent.
I just think he won't track back. The reason Dyche, if I'm being objective about it, goes with Ndoye is because he does track back and helps Savona out fullback. I think Hutchinson will be a bit further forward, and that could expose us in our right back position. Hence why I think most of your targeting should be down our right back position. But I just don't know how this one goes, bro. I just feel it's going to be a dead game. But that's the 11 I would go with.
I went for a 2-2 last night on Spurs 5 as a prediction. Maybe I was a bit punchy with the scoreline, but I don't think there's a lot.
4 goals, bro. That would be entertaining. You're getting ahead of yourself.
Oh, look who's joined. Look who's jumped on for the last segment of the show. Hi, Sam. How you doing, mate?
Hey, where you been ghosting me, bro? Where you been hiding?
Oh,
sorry. I joined. You brought me on way too quickly. I was eating Galaxy.
That's all right.
Only because I know I am always eating chocolate as well. Yeah, I needed to see Wolfie. I haven't seen him for a while.
Yeah.
How are you?
He's been avoiding me. I'm all right, bro. How you been?
I'm all right,
I've
mate.
missed you, man.
I've just read a report saying that Crystal Palace want to sign Brennan Johnson, so it's made my day. I'm there. I'm happy. Yeah.
How much?
Yeah, I don't know. It just says it's from what's his name?
Mike McGrath.
Mike McGrath.
Telegraph.
Yeah.
Who?
Mike McGrath from the Telegraph.
He's never got anything wrong. He's never got anything right. I mean, he's been wrong about everything. But someone get me a fucking thumbnail. Someone get me a thumbnail because content's got a content. You know, we know how it works.
Well, I'd be surprised because Thomas Frank chased Brennan Johnson for like a year or two before the year before we got promoted. Frank was chasing him at Brentford in the summer and in the January window. I'm surprised.
Mate. Different levels. Brentford Spurs. We're massive, mate. We should be winning leagues and everything. So,
Saba, you've joined at the perfect moment, right? We got. If you guys have all got it, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And, I wanted to.
I can't say no to Sav, can I? I mean, look at that youthful looking face, man.
Saba, can I just ask Saba? We all know you get your hair cut and your beard trimmed every 3 days or 4 days.
Every Friday, get it right, Sean.
Is it every Friday? Is it every Friday?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did yesterday actually, but yeah, once a week.
What we don't know is what your skincare routine is because there's a shine and a glimmer that suggests Nivea for men, day and night cream. The grey tub with the little orange
one, mate.
Orange
it's not the men one.
There's something going on there, mate. What's your skincare routine? Come on. There's more to it. There's more to it than just good looks. There's something going on. I don't have the bounce. I haven't got that shine. I haven't got it. What's going on? I mean, Wolfie's got a little bit. As well. But I don't put
the Mediterranean skin, Sean. You need the Mediterranean skin.
Yeah,
like
Mediterranean skin.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Well,
is it you boys?
Every week when I get my hair done and my beard done, I get my face waxed.
Your face waxed
and steamed. Yeah.
You get the wax in the ear and the ear plug.
Oh, bro, that's proper Greek, man.
Yeah, man.
Like Greek Turkish settings there. Man.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Wait, Sam,
anyway, I'm sure you didn't invite me on
grey hair, Sam.
About skincare routines.
No, well, Sam, you not got grey hair, Sam?
Couple have started to. Couple have. Yeah.
So the accusations must be true. You gotta be a fake Spurs fan, mate. Like, how can you support Spurs this long and not be grey? But seriously, I'm going to start the rumors, man. I have evidence. New thumbnail. Evidence. Fake Sava Spurs fan. He's not great.
Yeah. Who is it this week? Is it Villa who I support this week, or is it Man City? Or
I haven't been tagged with Villa this week.
No,
or ever.
Yeah.
I get tagged with Villa. I get tagged with Villa. Someone's taken a picture of. In fact, Sava's taken a picture of me on my channel, and he's AI'd it.
I thought that.
You've seen that, right?
Yeah. That's not AI, mate. That's not AI.
Like one of my eyes is going this way. I've got like a bit of a jawline that's like full collapse.
That is not AI. Stop denying it.
Yeah, just give me the pipe, bro.
Should I give you my list? I've been tagged, and I love this. I've been tagged with Spurs. I've been tagged with Man U. Both teams, by the way, top of my pile on hate list. Also, someone was very creative. They said, I know this Wolfie guy supports Wolves. And I was like...
marketing at its best.
Yeah.
I was like, he's got me, man. He's got me. I can just imagine him sitting there.
It's in plain sight. The truth in plain sight. His name's Wolfie. Can't be anything else. Come on now, they're hiding it. Lads, let's do the last 15 minutes. Right, we've got it. Let's do a combined 11. I got my little sheet here. Goalkeeper, right? Mathys Tel or Vicario. Savra, I'll let you kick us off, mate. Who would you have?
Wait, before you kick us off, what are the rules? Are we saying minimum of X from each team? Are we doing any of that? Or are we just gonna like thrash it out?
Just thrash it out. Yeah, thrash it out.
Do you know what?
It's almost as simple as saying, would you rather have Mathys Tel in your team than Vicario? Right?
Yeah, I know. I don't think I thought Mathys Tel was excellent last year, by the way.
Agreed.
I don't really rate either of them to any degree. I put it this way: I wouldn't mind if we were, in the playground where you pick a player and then the other person gets to pick. If I got left with either of these two, I don't think I would fight tooth and nail for the other one. I don't think they're bad. I don't think they're great. Yeah, meh. 50. I'm going full Lubo. I'm going full Lubo on this.
Still on the bench. Splinters FC. Splinters FC. Fair enough.
Splinters. Yeah.
All right, I'll make this one easy for you, Wolfie, if you want me. I actually rate Mathys Tel. I think he's far more consistent, in my opinion, at the different dynamics of what a goalkeeper requires than Vicario has been in the last 2 seasons. So for me, I would actually be happy to sit there genuinely, rather than just doing it for banter's sake. I'd actually think that Mathys Tel, I'd be more than happy. I don't rate Vicario.
I'm actually more with Sava. I'll tell you what, it depends what style you want to play. If you want to play out from the back, I'd go Vicario. I think both their weaknesses are on crosses, corners, etc. I think Sells is a good shot stopper and golden.
Do you think he heard me?
He heard you. He's having a go right now. How dare he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Has he messaged me asking for the link? No, he hasn't. No, he hasn't. That's fine.
I'd say Sells did win the Golden Glove last season, but I agree with Sav. I've been underwhelmed with him this season.
I think we're going to give Sells the keeper spot. Personally, there you go. 1 for Forest. Right back, Pedro Porro, or
can I make this easy for all of us?
Yeah.
Can we agree on Spence
as a right back?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
he doesn't even play right back for Spurs.
He should do, man. Do you know on Porro? Okay, I'll just quickly say this on Porro. I think he has one of the best crosses in the league. Crosses. I don't rate him as a defender. I would play him higher up the pitch. I know Kudos is there. Let's pretend Kudos is not there, but I think he'd probably make a better midfielder than a defender.
But he can't take a man on. And in a 4-2-3-1, you need a guy that takes a player on.
I agree with your fucking team, man. Just let him cross the ball in from midfield. He plays most of the time there anyway.
His crosses are one of the best in the league, in my opinion.
The pace of it, the curvature on it is absolutely on the money. But I do not rate him as a defender.
No, I agree with that as well.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I'm willing to put Jed Spence on the right back, because
Jed Spence is your best right back by a country mile. And do you know what? If you play Jed Spence there, he's actually a right wing back in my opinion. Okay, but what I would say is if you played a back three, I know we're going off on a tangent here. If you played a back three and you put Jed Spence a right wing back, and you were forced to play Jono, believe you me, Jono looks a better player because of Spence.
So
hold on, Sam.
You started ruining it now. You ruined it.
Hold on, Sam. My point is Jed Spence makes whoever's in front of him look better. So, okay, forget the whole Jono.
I completely disagree. He hasn't forged a single relationship with anybody in front of him in the entire time he's been at Spurs on the right or the left. He has no chemistry.
You haven't played him long enough on the right, bro. And you haven't played him as a right wing back.
If you're going to play a right wing back system, you play Porro.
No.
Would it be fair to say, guys, Jed Spence is definitely the best defender at Spurs as a fullback. He's definitely better than the others as a fullback, a defender. But we haven't got a big enough sample size at right back. I mean, he never plays there. He only plays there like for the last 15 minutes when Porro gets subbed off. He never goes Spence Udogie, for example. He doesn't tend to do that, and neither did Ange. So
you know what's crazy, Sav? I hear that from a few Spurs fans. My brother says it as well. Jed Spence was a worse defender for Forest than an attacker because he was always too far up the pitch and get caught the wrong side of the ball. But his pace would bring him back in and he could, recover with the defense. But because it was a wing-back formation, you'd have like Worrell would shift out to the right-hand side. The defense would move and cover him on the right-hand side. But because he was so good at going forward, like we didn't care about the defensive side because the other three would cover it off. So when Spurs fans tell me how good he is at defense, it actually annoys me because I think you could be getting so much more out of him because I still think he's better going forward. Do you know what? He's got a cracking shot on him as well. And I just don't see him taking these shots at Spurs. I would love to see him at right wing. I say I'd love to, but in the sense of I still love Jed Spence. I just think you guys aren't using him right.
I would actually I wouldn't mind seeing him get a run of games at right back, but I think the problem that we've got at the moment is we are not covered at left back at all. We've got Udogie, who I'm up and down with Udogie, but he's really injury prone. Other than that, we haven't got anyone. I've noticed this week we're being linked with like left backs all over the place. So
yeah, we are. Yeah.
I hear you. I wouldn't mind Spencer right back, but I truly think this has got to be a conversation about Williams or Porro, right? Surely.
Williams playing left back.
Williams left back.
Like I would say Einar would walk in, but obviously he's been out injured.
Yeah, he's a good. I like him. I like him when he's fit.
He hasn't played a single minute, I don't think.
Look, if the Forest man is willing to put Jed Spence in there,
I am willing. I loved it.
I would do that and put Nico Williams at left back.
Nico Williams, 100%. He is so underrated. He's been our best player this season.
I don't mind him as well. He's one of those players for me. He looks like he just gets on with it. Do you know what I mean? It's not the cool sexy name.
No fuss, no muss. Yeah.
When I hear fullbacks being described, I just want a fullback that is balanced. I want a player that is not going to let you down defensively because they're so good going forward, or someone that can't offer any value going forward because they're completely consumed with their defensive responsibilities. And I just think there's a handful of players in the Premier League that are left back and right backs that are just balanced and solid, and like people like Anthony Robinson, people like Kenny Tete, people like Ryan Ait-Nouri before he emerged, people like Rico Henry at Brentford before he got injured. Just good players that get forward, that can whip the ball in, that are naturally footed the side that they're on, and that can contribute, but that know the art of defending. And I don't think Tottenham have got anyone that can do that, really. I think. Do you know
who I actually think you've just summed up there? And everyone, this isn't helping my Aston Villa being an Aston Villa fan.
Yeah, Matty Cash.
I actually think Matty Cash
and Luca Digne, by the way. Luca
Digne. I know Spurs fans hate Matty Cash for what he done, but when I watch Cash and Digne, they do exactly what you said. First and foremost, they defend, but they both get up and down the pitch, and that's why I think Villa are really well balanced at the back there. They've got two defenders that you don't really hear making a lot of mistakes. They don't, again, not the second, like Torres and Consa, not the sexiest names, but they just all get on with their job.
All top fullbacks have that sort of thing. Apart from if you're playing for a top four team or top, a championship team where you're going to have 80-70% possession. Trent Alexander-Arnold, right? Dog shit at defending, but it didn't matter too much because they weren't often out of possession. But like Livramento at Newcastle, right? Like unbelievable getting forward, but can get back and do his job.
Same with Lewis Hall, to be honest. Same with Lewis Hall.
Matty Cash, fun fact for you, he wasn't a right back because he came through us, didn't he? He was a winger. We converted him into a right back. And for me, I think he is right back of the season so far right now at Villa. And the Villa fans wanted him out in the summer because they wanted to improve on him. He's
a Polish international with a name like Matty Cash.
It's like his grandma's
good-looking boy. He's a good-looking lad, isn't he? He's like, now that Grealish is gone,
the girls loved him.
I'm taking the mantle as the best-looking bloke at Villa.
Yeah, the girls loved him.
You are?
No, not me. We're not with meth face.
That little admission that he's the Villa fan. Then did we get a little
Villa shirt on, Sean? Just get your Villa shirt out. Just put it on.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on to the centre backs. This is an interesting one for me. Oh, why can't I see it? Here we go. And it's the stage again. I guess we have to have the horses for courses argument here. But then we got four decent centre backs to choose from: Murillo, Milenkovic, Romero, or Micky van der Ven. Can we all agree? Also, it's actually Murillo plays left side, doesn't he, Wolfie?
He does. I was gonna throw a suggestion out there, lads. I know it's unorthodox. I know they both play in the same position. But should we go Murillo and Van der Ven? That's that's a techie centre back pairing who can defend, who can take the ball up the pitch. I want to play attacking football. I don't know about you two, but like, I like it.
I
think
mind it.
Van
I think they're the
der Ven
best two
has
centre
to
backs.
get in there. I genuinely think that for years at Spurs, everyone's talked about Romero being the main man. I don't think he is. I think Van der Ven has taken that mantle now.
Yeah.
He's the one we miss when he doesn't play. When Romero doesn't play, yeah, we miss the passing from the back. But I don't know. I think Van der Ven's our main guy.
I agree.
However, the question's got to be here, right? Is Murillo better than Romero? That's got to be your question here, right?
The answer is yes.
Well, they're different defenders, aren't they? Romero's very much ball playing, bring it out, superb passing. Murillo, for me, though, is a unit. Like he just defends. And I don't. Maybe I might be wrong here, Wolfie.
I disagree.
Every week.
There's no better passing centre back in the Premier League than Christian Romero. Prove me wrong.
Murillo.
Yeah, I'd see. I'm not sure I'd pick Murillo over Murillo.
All right. Do you not want to play a back three?
Oh, we're trying to shoehorn, are we?
I can't not have Murillo. I said to you, Sean, earlier, if Murillo plays, Forest win. If Murillo doesn't play, Forest will lose on Sunday.
I mean,
listen. I think Romero over Murillo.
I rate Murillo as a fucking phenomenal centre back. I think he's brilliant.
I agree. I rate Milenkovic as well.
Same.
I think this is the difficult thing, right? Murillo and Milenkovic last season were absolutely superb, right? They were absolutely brilliant as a pairing. Not been as good this season, but you would expect that when you've had 3 managers in your first 15 Premier League games. So,
do you know why?
I think Romero's better though.
Shall we agree to this? I think we could both make the argument that Micky van der Ven and Murillo are both 2 of the best left-sided, left-footed centre-backs in the Premier League. And we could both make the argument that Milenkovic and Romero are very capable, very, very good centre-backs. So it's a very fine line. I wouldn't hate it if Tottenham set up with Murillo and Milenkovic. I'm sure Wolfie wouldn't hate it if his centre-back pairing was Romero and Van der Ven. Is that fair? So on that basis, we pick one of each.
I would say Romero is better than Milenkovic on the right-hand side. But I think Murillo is better than Romero. Because
would you like some information, right? This season, right? Murillo is much better than with the data, depending on how much you want to read into it. For defensive duels, possession one, and progressive passes, Murillo is better. For aerial, ball carrying, and passes, Romero is better. So I don't know if you put them both into data MB, Sean. I don't know if you could bring it up. They're very similar in terms of their data for this season, to be honest. Very similar.
I'm not surprised by that. What I will add on top of that, Sav, is one of the reasons we've been so shit defensively this season is because Murillo's picked up a groin injury and a hamstring injury. Yeah. Under the whole Ange period, he got in. I don't know if you saw the first game against Arsenal. He got injured after 20 minutes and we didn't see him again. He then came back when Sean Dyche was appointed, and the games he was in there, we won. He's one of the reasons we won some of them. So I don't think Murillo will be at Forest in the summer, and I think he could go to like a Real Madrid. I think he's that good. They're sniffing around him anyway.
Sean, I'm not sure if you can share my screen. I just think it's interesting.
I'm not disappointed with any of the 4 combo. Do you get what I'm saying? I think there's a case for each of the 4 centre backs.
I bet you if you had asked most Spurs fan though about aggressive passing, they probably would have thought that. I mean, I naturally thought Romero would have had that. I don't think. Look, when you look at this, there's not a lot in it, is there? There's not. There's not a lot in it.
That's a left back versus a right back, right? If you look at Murillo versus Van der Ven, which is shown here, then they're completely chalk and cheese. Right? Completely chalk and cheese.
Wow.
And Murillo smashes him.
Is that Is that the perfect? Wow, look at his defensive stats.
I think Murillo goes in. Should we put Murillo and Romero in then? Is that fair? I've
like
only got
Romero.
about 10 minutes, guys, before we got to jump.
Right.
I would go this if we're going this season. I would go with VDV and Romero, but I like the two. I've always liked Milenkovic. I think that was an absolute steal when Forest got Milenkovic, and I think that Murillo's a good player. But right now, listen. Whatever you guys do, it doesn't really matter. We're not picking the team for Saturday, for Sunday. But I mean, but.
I'll tell you what we'll do. Just based on those stats, right? Just to we'll give one apiece, right? We'll give one apiece. It doesn't really matter, but we'll say that the centre backs. It's a tight decision, but we'll go with those two then. You're
gonna piss your comments off about Van de Ven. I love it. Let's do it.
It is what it is.
I love it.
Listen, Murillo's stats there, absolutely unbelievably like they're entirely different. They're both amazing centre backs, but clearly entirely different competencies. Let's move on to the forward line. The midfield too. I think we can all agree that a certain Anderson gets in for 100%.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, class.
Alongside him,
this boy's special. He's a really
very
good.
special.
He will not be at Nottingham Forest for long. You know that, Wolfie, right?
We'll define long.
He will be
Christmas Day.
He's gone
like
after
Christmas
Day.
You know, get up early, stay up late because it's only comes around for a little bit. You know, enjoy it.
Look, alongside him, if Douglas Luiz had played all season, I'd say Douglas Luiz. But I think we need for balance like a Paulinho. Actually,
Paulinho is the only Spurs midfielder I would entertain being in a midfield of
Berghvall.
Good gosh.
It's weird though, Walker. I'll tell you what, mate. The amount that there's like a faction of the Tottenham fan base on Twitter that cannot stand Paulinho. They hate him. When there was that picture of the players that all had when Kudus scored the other day, and they all went and got their stools, their like the plastic stools to sit on, the ball boy stools. There was Odebear, Mathys Tel, I think it was Paulinho, Kudus, and Xavi. I think or someone else. Romero or Richalison, sorry, that was all sitting there, and people were saying, "Can you please Can someone please edit Paulinho out of this picture?"
Wow. Really?
Yeah. And then some people were like, "Is that a racial connotation? Like, are you saying like get the white boy out?" But like, no, it's just because we hate fucking Paulinho. You know,
really? I think Paulinho is a fantastic breaker up of play. I don't rate him on the ball, but I just think you need a Paulinho in your team. Do you know what I'm saying? He just breaks it up. If he could flip the play around quicker, it'd be even better. But he's getting on.
The argument I always make is when you've got a player like Romero and Pedro Porro onto your right-hand side that are all far more capable than the average midfielder in the Tottenham team at passing, you can still suffer his inability on the ball because he can just hand it over to someone that's better at doing that.
Yeah.
You know?
But do you know what? The thing is, Paulinho is also a victim of Spurs not having a proper number 8. If Paulinho played alongside Elliot Anderson or a Wharton, no one would be talking about Paulinho because they just let him win it, give it 5 yards to Wharton or whoever, and go and play. So,
and that's what you want from your DM. That's what you want from your DM. Yeah.
In the 10, tricky one: Morgan Gibbs-White or Xavi, based on this season. Or based on talent, based on history? What are we doing here?
Well, James Maddison would get it if he was fit. I'll just put throw my 2 cents.
He's not. Yeah, he's not fit, so we're not. Gonna,
See, I don't know what Wolfie thinks. Right? I can't believe we're about to have another Morgan Gibbs-White conversation, Wolfie. But I know you're not his biggest fan. When Spurs were in for Morgan Gibbs-White, I always thought that Frank wanted him to be more of the 8 and the ball carrying 8 rather than an out and out 10. Would that be fair, or have you guys been playing him in the 10?
We've been playing him in the 10, but I agree with you. He has all the attributes of an 8. He's not a 10 for me. I think he's an 8.
In that particular midfield three, you need to have someone that's a bit more.
I would go with Xavi, personally.
Yeah,
I do want to piss off your
answer,
chat and put Gibbs-White, but I know we're short on time.
No, I'm not hearing a different answer. It's Xavi all day long. He's an absolute baller. He's just about to come to his, like, if we were going to get stuck on it, I would allow us to get stuck on it, but I would ultimately end up with that guy's face in that position because I'm the guy who's
slightly
typing the letters.
attracted to him. Is that what you're telling us?
He's a gorgeous man. Gorgeous man, even with those braids. Listen, right wing.
Kudos.
Is it an easy one? Kudos.
Kudos.
Better than Ndoye, yeah?
Fucking Saba's better than Ndoye, bro.
Left wing. I personally rate all of your left wingers. I think Amari Hutchinson is a baller. I think he's going to be a baller. I think Amari.
Can we put Odebear in just to piss off Saba?
I was going to say it can't be a single Spurs left winger.
Will he rage quit if we put Odebear in there?
No. I think who are your left wingers? You've got Udogie and
Hudson and Doy. Amari Hutchinson can play there. My vote would go Amari Hutchinson.
Yeah,
Hudson and Doy for me is going on a bit of reputation at the moment, but I'd go Amari Hutchinson.
Same.
Yeah, I think Hutchinson's an exciting player. I haven't seen a lot of him this year, if I'm brutally honest.
Because they haven't fucking used him.
It definitely can't be a Spurs left winger, that's for sure. We are weak there. We are really weak.
And now we have a massive issue, boys. We need some shitty striker to go up front, and we're all both struggling with this.
It's this guy, isn't it? It's clearly this guy.
I love Igor Jesus.
Clearly,
I actually think he would be a baller at 10, but yeah. You know what? That's not a bad team, you know.
It's a fantastic team.
Does that team avoid relegation?
I still think that both of us could improve on our fullback situations, but as a
I need Einar back. If you would put Einar in there,
fantastic for me. I think the spine's fantastic.
Wait, who wins here? So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players. I'll take that.
Wait, what?
7-4.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh yeah, maybe I have to change that then.
By the way, I'm counting Spence still as a Forest player, even though he's technically on loan.
I think
you know what, boys? Joking aside,
that's a concern, though, isn't it? That's a concern that I was sort of more than happy to let Forest have 7 players in our combined 11. That's a problem. That is a problem in our team.
I think it just highlights where we're weak.
It highlights your squad for me.
We're weak up front. We're weak on the left. We're weak in midfield, and I think we're weak at fullback. So. That's why whenever every single show I watch, I see people going, "Oh, we should just rock up and batter Forest 4-0." I'm like, "Oh, I think you're really overrating our players." But
and also it shows me why I am right to be as pissed off as I am about my team this season, because our squad is good.
Yeah, but you guys have had 3 managers in the space of 15 Premier League games. I mean, you've got how do you get any?
I'd love it to be 4, bro. I'd love it to be 4.
How many league games did Dyche? Not Dyche. Did Nuno manage? League,
3.
Just league.
3.
And then Ange?
6.
4, I would guess.
Yeah.
I mean, this is it's mad, right? You can't. You just can't. You need some stability.
And
right?
had loads of games, but there was loads of League Cup matches, Europa League matches. Do you know what I mean? It kind of piled up.
Yeah.
I think he ended up.
Aren't there similarities, right? Like bullshit, boring Nuno to gung ho, crazy, batshit crazy Ange, back to bullshit, boring. The pendulum of the management swings, just like Tottenham, right?
Just like that. Do you know what, boys? Again, Banter aside, there are so many similarities between our two clubs. You lot get called Spursy, I call us Foresty. Look what we did at the end of the last season. You lot go from attack to defense, man. We've just done the same thing. You lot lose against teams where you think you're gonna win. We do the same thing. It's just crazy. Forest has 1 R, by the way, Matt.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Sorry, what'd you say? What'd you say to Matt?
Forest has 1 R in it, Matt. I'm just saying. I don't know why people. By the way, he's not alone. Loads of people spell Forest with 2 R's. I do worry about the educational system in England, and that Forest gets spelled with 2 R's.
Yeah. Guys, final words before we wrap up, mate. Wolfie, absolute brilliant debut, man. Thank you so much for coming on. Final score prediction. Well, you said 0-0, didn't you, or 1-1 or something? You said, right?
I'm gonna go 1-0 Forest, but I think it'll be 0-0. It's gonna be a dead game. Do not operate heavy machinery while watching this match.
Sava, what are you saying?
You're mute.
You're on mute.
Schoolboy error. I think it's going to be a draw or Spurs will nick it by the odd goal. I do not think this is going to be a big win for either side. I don't think either team are good enough to wipe the floor with anyone, if I'm honest.
Not one for the ages then, Sava.
I don't think this. Listen, who knows? Sunday we could be sitting there going, "Oh my god, a 4-3 classic." But you guys, one week you're beating Liverpool 3-0, the next week you're losing to Everton 3-0. One week we're playing against Chelsea and Arsenal, looking like we've never played football before, and then we should be beating Brentford and Prague about 6 or 7-0. So I genuinely think this is going to be a tough game. I do. I think you are very strong in midfield, and that worries me.
Don't worry, Sean Dyche bypasses it with long ball. Someone worry about that.
Right, well, we're going
and we spend half of our time playing through the midfield when we shouldn't. So it's
it's going to be like watching Wimbledon, isn't it? Ball in the end.
All right, so I'm going to go for. I said on Spurs 5 last night. I'm going to go for a score draw as well, 1-1, 2-2, whatever. But Wolfie, massive thank you to you, mate. I'll be popping on your show later on this evening around 7:30, whatever. Sava, big up to you, my man. Thanks for popping on. Guys in the chat, big up to you. I've got a couple of super chats. I didn't even get a chance to do them. Big up to Prince Axel Ramaswamy, the man formerly known as Cat Funt. And of course, you are the originator of the super sticker track. So you get the choo-choo. Big up to you, my man. Appreciate you very much indeed. We also have a super sticker from Chudini. Big up Chudino. Appreciate you, mate. Always here, always supporting. Same with Paul Petty. Always supporting, mate. Thank you very much indeed, guys. And also Cat Funt's come back in saying, we will be more front foot with new players in January. That's what we always say. But hopefully that story out of Tottenham Tears or whoever it was that said we've got 150 million minimum to spend in January. Hopefully there's some truth to it.
Of course you do.
But load of bollocks probably. Guys, we're going to let you go. Everyone stay where you are. We're going to move straight over to Football Inc. Johnny's waiting in the background, so we're going to start there right now. Sava, big up to you. Wolfie, big up to you. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate everyone. Good luck this weekend. Enjoy your games, and I'll see you later. Bye.